2012.com, and there we can all learn how to just phone from home to help bypass those shamefully scheming media hucksters to speak with potential.
Well, that's right. Ron Paul's probably conservatively got 30, 40 million supporters. If you all just made 1 or 2 phone calls in his phone bank system, you would reach, 80 million people. So how about you all make 10 calls? Get in the game. Start getting in the trenches. Use your legs. Use your arms. Use your mind. Use your mouth. Take action. We better use our mouths right now and our pens and our keyboards so we don't have to use our fist and lead-spewing devices, the cartridge box. Better use the jury box, the grand jury box, even though it's filled with fraud, the voting box, because we expose the fraud that way. We'll be right back. Stay with us. I'll try to jam in all the other callers that are holding after we talk to Keiser a while. I want to hear from you. Always interesting, the points you bring up. Thought-provoking. But I want to tell you about a few of the sponsors that made this transmission possible today who I really believe in, and we'll go to Max Keiser. This holiday season, eFoodsDirect.com is offering some unbelievable deals. They really are. They got a whole bunch of specials. If you have never, thought about getting a supply of storable food, you really should. And if you've ever thought about it, this is the place to get it. Now is the time. This season, give yourself the gift of food security and peace of mind in these unstable times. They've got some free sample deals going. They've got some shipping deals going. Just check out all the specials at E, that's the letter E, foodsdirect.com/Alex is where you find the specials. efoodsdirect.com/Alex, or link through on the banners at Infowars.com and Prisonplanet.com, or 800-876-0871, 800-876-0871. Give them a call today, efoodsdirect.com/Alex. Also, Diamond Gusset Jeans, gussetclothing.com, or 888-GUSSET, which is GUSSET. Every fiber in Diamond Gusset jeans are made in America. I know that'll upset Homeland Security, which is traitor security, criminal security. They are comfortable jeans at a great price. Go to gussetclothing.com to order over the phone. Call 888-GUSSET, GUSSET. Go to gussetclothing.com today. They, again, have a lot of Christmas specials running as well. And finally, purewaterfreedom.com. You can remove fluoride from every water source in your home with a whole house fluoride removal system. They've got a bunch of other tabletop under the sink. They've got it all. It's the one-stop shop. All their filters are made in the USA. Visit purewaterfreedom.com. That's one word, purewaterfreedom.com, or go to purewaterfreedom.com today and take control of your water supply and your water freedom. Or trust the loving government adding all those goodies in there. Now, going to Max Keiser, it is exactly as I said over a decade ago. It is exactly as Max has been breaking down. Mega banks imploding countries by design by putting their people in over every nation, having those ministers that work for Goldman Sachs, J.P. Morgan, and others publicly, signing all authority over to the euro, the IMF, quote, saving everyone, the New York Fed taking taxpayer money and giving it to them, which is just another subsidiary of the same private banking cartel. Open bill set to be passed today to secretly arrest citizens, kill you, torture you, disappear forever, dungeon keeper, North Korea on steroids. But it's for the troops, McCain says. I mean, everything's for the troops. When they have them dying of DU poisoning or taking deadly vaccines, it's for the troops. Or when they let Prudential steal their death benefits, it's for the troops. It's all for the troops. You're for the troops, aren't you? Come on. Throw your baby into an oven for the troops. I mean, it's worship corrupt foreign banks. Let MF Global take your bank account. It's for the troops. Let Corzine make 40-to-1 bets with investors' money and companies he's grabbed. It's for the troops. Let them ship guns into Mexico and drugs back into the country. Our own government. It's for the troops. So Max Keiser joins us to discuss all the insanity that is now taking place. And it's just going to get crazier and crazier. Chinese generals saying there may be nuclear war. Russian ships massing. U.S. ships with nukes on them massing. Chinese drills. As everything collapses. And it's just getting crazier by the minute. Max Keiser, inventor of the virtual trading Hollywood stock exchange system, successful broker in his own right, author, TV host, radio host, you name it. Max, always good to have you join us. And since we talked to you early last week, a lot has transpired on MF Global, Europe, all of it. Where is it all going? I mean, I guess they're just testing the perch as a parrot does, and the globalists are saying, wow, the people are letting us gang rape them, then all's steam ahead, all's well. I mean, is that what's happening here?
Hey, Alex, great to be back on. Well, a few days ago, what happened is a big French bank by the name of Crédit Agricole was about to go bankrupt, and that's what triggered this massive move by the Federal Reserve Bank in New York to stage a global bailout. Now, the last time I was on your show, or a couple of months ago, we knew that a French bank was going to go bankrupt. I speculated that it would be either Societe Generale or BP. Crédit Agricole was the third name on the list. It turns out that Crédit Agricole, which is the biggest bank by in terms of number of branches and number of customers, it's the biggest bank throughout France, was on death's doorstep. So the Federal Reserve Bank of New York, because to bail out Goldman Sachs, who has investments in all of these foreign banks, they stepped up and they engaged in what are called foreign currency liquidity swaps. And I can get into that a little bit because that's a massive fraud, if you want me to explain that.
Sure, and then we'll get into what mega U.S. banks you think are going to go belly up soon. Go ahead.
Well, this foreign currency liquidity swaps allows U.S. banks to use bonds on foreign territories and on foreign banks' balance sheets as collateral to leverage them up by 10 or 20 to 1, to bypass all the laws in Europe. The bypass laws of the European Central Bank, et cetera. Because the European Central Bank is very afraid of inflation, because the European Central Bank is really the Bundesbank. It's really the German central bank. And ever since the hyperinflation of the Weimar in the 1920s, they've been paranoid about hyperinflation, and they're very sensitive about this inflation idea. So what the New York Fed did was they just bypassed the European Central Bank and said, we're going to leverage up your balance sheets 10 to 1 overnight. As a way to, quote unquote, increase liquidity, and as a way for our banks in New York, like Goldman Sachs, to claim sovereignty to an even greater extent over your European countries. So this is what they call foreign currency liquidity swaps. It's the latest in the big game to allow a few global bankers to run the show. The next big move here, you're going to hear a lot more about it, will be the introduction of the special drawing rights, or the continuation of the special drawing rights. Now, a special drawing right is a fiat currency like a U.S. dollar or a euro, except it's being printed by the IMF. So the IMF can print money. It's called the special drawing right.
And by the way, the U.S. Postal Service on foreign package deliveries for at least a year is already quantitating it out and listing out the value in SDRs. So, and most of these, of course, are digital. So this is a whole new credit line of the IMF and World Bank themselves, holding companies for the Federal Reserve global system. And so now they're going to bail everyone out with fiat made-up garbage, and we'll all worship them for engineering the whole fraud because the bought and paid for larcenous, treasonous scum, not even media, but propaganda bullhorns, Fox, CNN, BBC, will not tell the drooling Prozac heads this.
Yeah, and by the way, I have a nice little picture on my website, maxkeiser.com, of a suicide banker trying to hit Hank Paulson on the street, which if you see the little image on my maxkeiser.com
Is that
site,
right at the top? Because we're going to put it on InfoWars as well later, and we're also going to put it on screen right now. Is that your top story?
Well, it's, I guess you could call it. I have a link to my show, Keiser Report, as number 1. Number 2 is an image that I just put up of a suicide banker trying to hit Hank Paulson in an act of real patriotism. But anyway, getting back to the special drawing right, we'll see them used by international corporations like Caterpillar and other big multinationals who will start to settle up their international deals in this new, fastly becoming very liquid international currency, the special drawing right. And what this allows these guys to do is to take all the toxic debts on their balance sheets and to re-securitize them, to refloat them, to reintroduce them as bonds that have a longer maturity. And as was mentioned at Davos 2 years ago, they said right at Davos that they wanted to introduce a brand new $100 trillion facility, a credit line.
Yeah, they said that a year ago. They said we need $100 trillion so we can buy everything up and run scams and leverage that out, and it looks like they're going ahead with it. Max?
They need 100. This countries like the U.S. with, let's say, 14 or 15 in debt, and they'll roll that up into a special drawing right, and they'll extend the maturity, and they'll swap that for SDRs, and this has the end effect of basically just debasing all of these fiat currencies even more, and it gets back to the same story. Currencies being debased, precious metals are still continuing to go higher. Gold is having another spectacular year, up 25% on the year, this 10th year in a row. I don't know how many people don't seem to get it. This is in a major bull market. It's going to be going up for another 10 years because these people at the top, their only solution is to create more fiat money because they get paid on how much fiat money they create. They don't get paid to create jobs. They don't get paid to increase productivity. They don't get paid to increase GDP. They only get paid in terms of how much of this fiat money they can create. So if they create 100 billion or 100 trillion, that's a 1% fee that's cut up amongst just a handful of bankers. That's a huge payday.
Exactly. Now let's expand on MF Global. Now for a week they've been saying it's more like $3 billion. Most people get nothing. And they've sent out statements where even if people had 100% of their own money in their account and they had played the gold futures market and made a bunch of money, they're taking the money as if it never existed and sending them, Gerald Salente's one, a corrected statement saying, by the way, your gold is here now. You just need to buy it at the current rate, not what your contract said. So they're just acting like nothing happened. And it looks like this is the new system because the head of the CFTC was involved in all this. I guess he's profiting from it. And so it does signal, Max, a new level. And so do you agree with Salente that they're now going to start grabbing other types of accounts and systems?
Well, yeah, absolutely. That's the trend, is that they're just repricing assets, as they've done in the Salente case, as a way to steal money. And as a way to, I wish America had mullahs, because then an American mullah could declare a fatwa on John Corzine. Because if the government's not going to do anything about it, in other countries and other cultures, they have ways to take care of these guys. I only wish that somebody in America would, declare a fatwa on John Corzine, and because we need to get rid of the scourge somehow. The government's not going to get rid of the cancer. And there's no law, but there is no law, Alex. That this Hank Paulson is saying that technically, when he tipped his Goldman Sachs buddies about the Fannie Mae and Freddie Mac bailout a couple of years ago.
Yeah, let me stop you there. That came out yesterday in British papers, and it's not even news here. And the few newspapers that did say, well, it's fine. Congress has said they can insider trade, and so can Paulson. You go to jail for that, but not our dear little scam artist.
Yeah, well, when you have that kind of law break, when you have that going on, and he claims that technically he's not breaking the law. But the fact is that there is no law. I mean, the MF Global points this out. There's no law stopping these guys from taking money out of your account. There's no law stopping Hank Paulson from trading on inside information and bankrupting millions of people. There's no law anymore. There's no rule of law. There are no laws when it comes to Wall Street. There's another great example is on Facebook. They broke the law when they offered the insider of their customers to own stock before they're going to go public in a few months at double the valuation they paid for it just last fall.